And welcome back, everybody, to another and today's last episode of the Careful Boy.
Don't do this to us. Why?
Well, we're talking about The Last of Us Part 2, guys.
Wow. That zombie game? Please explain why everyone hates this girl.
They say she looks like Buzz Lightyear.
This is
the blue hairs lover.
Don't take it out of context. They do. But this is really even tough, and it's really sad for me to say this, but a lot of people are throwing controversy just because of the way she looks.
Because she's supposed to play Ellie, right?
Yes.
Is this a live action movie or is it the game?
This is the episode.
This is the show.
I mean the show.
Live action show.
Okay.
And spoiler alert, if you don't know, right? I think this is a huge.
This is a big deal.
The dad dies.
The main character, one of the main characters.
The dad dies.
Let's just say his actor name so that we don't.
Pedro
Pomodoro.
Pascal.
The Mandalorian dies, dude.
The Mandalorian.
Not Baby Yoda.
And then here's the honest truth. He carries the show in season 1,
So why
and
did
they're
they kill
being
him off?
very honest to the game. They're just following the game. If you played The Last of Us Part 2, early in that game, he also gets killed off, and you're like,
Did you guys play the whole game?
It was too scary for me, but I played the first.
I played the
couple.
first one.
I played half of.
I heard about it because all gamers never shut the up about it.
So why do they hate her besides how she looks?
Do you feel like she can carry the show? Is the question.
Can you show me what she looks like?
She shoots a gun like a weirdo, I have to say.
And she also fights like a weirdo.
And she fights like a weirdo. And so no, but they did her disservice because she's a tiny chick and she's like beating up like huge dudes and stuff.
Right.
Oh, her?
Yeah.
From Game of Thrones?
Yeah.
Wait, she's on Game of Thrones?
Lady Mormont.
Yeah, Lady.
And you know what's interesting too is like Pedro Pascal. He looks like Joel from the game. Mm-hmm. She doesn't really look like.
Yeah,
she doesn't look like Ellie.
So it's bad casting.
Because Ellie was after, they actually got sued over it.
I thought that was Ellen Page's female version.
They actually got sued over it, and they had to pay a thing to Ellen Page.
Because it was such an obvious Ellen Page
Juno. She was making Juno jokes and shit.
And when they're doing animation and stuff like that, they pull references to make shit look a certain way, but they just did too good a job.
But I thought they did it because the voice actor was actually them.
It wasn't her.
Okay.
No.
So, which is what they should.
But I mean, in games, they usually make the character look like.
Actually, I think the voice actor in the game was a cameo in the actual episode.
She plays the mom.
She plays the mom of Ellie.
Yeah, but they should have got Paige to do it. Elliot, my bad.
Yeah.
See, that's what probably could have done it.
Okay. Here's the other thing that I think is like kind of the kind of perfect storm for why it's also like difficult is a lot of people, especially in Hollywood entertainment or when you're watching it, a lot of people get really upset when things feel like they're becoming woke for the sake of being woke. That's why, especially from like Disney.
Like what they did to April O'Neil.
Yeah, like when something.
They made her ugly.
My God.
She was like a sex symbol.
Talk about like nerfing a character into oblivion. Yeah.
No more titties, like just ugly, bro.
Why do they hate titties? What did they do to our girl Laura Croft, dude? They put Alicia Vikander in there, who I think is an A cup.
My God, dude.
I can't believe that.
She's pretty though.
I can't believe this shit.
She's really pretty.
At least stuff the bra up or like use CG or something.
We want voluptuous women's.
Well, I mean, why desexualize a character that was already originally looking like that?
Laura Croft had A cups when she was 6 years old.
The original idea was, why are you sexualizing them in the first place? That was what it was.
That was
We're
the
not
whole
sexualizing them.
That was the point. What if so fuck someone who like?
They sexualize themselves.
But that's like saying, oh, it's your fault. You're hot. Like you better go desexualize yourself.
No, I think the thing was like, why are they getting females that don't look physically fit to fight these guys?
That's a big
like,
one.
that's like superhero.
If they want to be realistic, no woman would beat a fucking ogre.
Okay, so here's the
Have her
thing.
shoot him
Here's the
or
thing.
something.
Most guys can't beat ogres.
I think,
Unless they know jiu-jitsu.
like I said, perfect storm, right?
Indiana
I think
Jones style.
we're in an era where, for example, when things get too woke, it becomes like people will just automatically fall off and think
Insufferable.
I have a question.
It's not believable.
Is this character like more woke than her original character?
in the game.
Yeah.
They show it, but the game is so much more focused on the narrative of like the revenge story.
Yeah.
But like when you do it for a drama in an episode, you enhance it, and I get that from an acting point of view. But then the problem is if a number of people don't ever play the games, then you're not thinking to yourself like, this is the game. You're thinking like, damn, dude, wokeism back in Hollywood again, and you're just getting mad at it.
Well, actually, so when the game came out, the sequel came out, it was attacked for being too woke, if you remember.
Yeah, but that was also years ago.
No, I know, but it was. It was like, because people were like, wait, what? They killed Joel off, and then they made her a leslie. Mm-hmm. And then they also made her, I guess, spoilies, forgive the person who killed Joel off, which everyone was like, that is motherfucking whack.
In the game, they do that.
Yeah.
Instead of like, so she does all this like work, I guess, to get to the person who killed her old man off, which was like, again, everyone likes the show because of the old man and the game, and then she doesn't even do it, and she's like is like forgiving them and stuff, and everyone's like, I don't know if you earned this.
So
is that a woke
So
choice?
it's even way worse if you didn't play the game and you didn't know that was going to be.
Yeah, so it makes it look like it's just a Hollywood woke thing, but really the original game has all these elements as well. But even in the first game and the first season, there was like there was a one episode where it was just straight up like two gay dudes like having like a house and defending the house. Do you remember that one?
That was probably actually one of the best episodes of that season.
Nikki said the same thing. I didn't see it.
Because
Turn it off. Steve, turn it off.
Because in the game they hint at this couple and you go to the house and stuff, but you never get to see the backstory. And in the show they show this is the backstory, of
Which is
what
cool
happened.
though, probably.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
Which is to me like I don't think that's a woke thing. It's actually a story thing.
But I also think it's done like really, really well in a certain way. And again, I don't want to like do discredit to like the actors, but also like these girls still look young. So when you see them like go into that, it also maybe as an audience member makes you feel a little uncomfortable. And it's not their fault, so to speak, but it's like when you're seeing like that gay couple, they're like older, and the way that that contrast
You
of like
believe it. You believe it.
It's a different kind of pain you
The
feel.
problem with woke most times is that people just don't believe it. Like if I see a little girl beating up like 17 dudes,
It doesn't represent real life, yeah.
like, and unless I'm watching something that earned it. Like when Hit Girl beat up a shitload of dudes, everyone's like, fuck yeah, this movie's sick. Why didn't they go like, what a bunch of woke bullshit, this little girl's beating up big dudes? Because it was an absurd like comedy movie over the top at every.
It's magical realism. Yeah.
But they also
over the
trained
top.
her.
Exactly, they earned it. They earned the shit out of it, and everyone was rooting her on. I don't remember anybody being like, "Oh really? Oh really?" She's blowing guys away with Uzis. Yeah. She wasn't like just like kick flipping all over everybody.
But it was like stylized and it was cool to watch.
and it puts you in a very like fantastical environment already.
Yes, they earned it. God forbid.
But woke stuff just seems like lazy writing. It could be any
that's what it is.
character.
That's what it
but
is.
let's just put a black trans
Who is in the
person.
middle of the frame? That is who you now love.
Yeah.
That is Rey Skywalker. And you're like, okay, but make me like her. Do something cool that we like.
Why should I like her?
I think
Besides the fact
you're
that she's
nailing it because it's bad writing. Because I'm watching.
It makes
this,
it look worse.
I'm watching this show right now, which I really like, called Duster, and you can have woke ideology in there and hide it better with good writing because they make it so stupid. They're like, one of the persons is like an FBI like black girl that's in the department. She's new. You don't have to say that everyone thinks she's black and they don't like it. You can just put her there, and I'm gonna know that because it's 1974. But then they have to have another guy go, well, I mean, we usually don't get a black agent. It's a woman. Like, you don't have to fucking say it. Just leave it alone. And then her partner, who's a fucking Navajo, has to say, yeah, they kind of treat me sort of bad around here. Like, you don't need to say it.
And she's like, by the way, they stole my land.
And so far, every episode, they say it at least once for both of them. They have to reiterate, like, okay, don't forget, they're not nice to her because she's black. And
by the way, show don't tell used to be like a thing.
exactly, yeah, that's what I mean.
Now it's like, we gotta hit the hammer to nail.
But do you think it's because people are getting dumber that they have to write it this way for them to get it?
No, I don't think people are getting dumber.
Because they still beautiful art is still being made that people are receiving.
Yeah.
It's not like people aren't receiving.
But I think people aren't criticizing that as much because of the subject matter. Because you can't say that was bad writing. They're gonna call you racist because they're like, oh, you just didn't like it because she's black. No, I didn't like the writing because it's really like.
But the people that
hitting you over the
speaks to,
head.
though, are they watching that and going, fuck yeah?
I think some people, but usually these shows fail and they don't do very well, and then they blame the audience for it every time.
Even though they were the one who targeted the lowest common denominator.
Exactly. Yeah. And they go, the audience sucks. Like I saw John Boyega recently talk about Star Wars fans and how racist they are because like he was in Star Wars and like they didn't like it.
But the fans wanted more.
But the fans loved him. He was such a good actor. Like I wanted to follow his character because he had the most interesting arc. And Daisy Ridley, by the way, I was just talking about how they put her in center frame and they're like, that's your star. She was a great actress. She did nothing wrong. They didn't do anything for her character. Yeah. They didn't juice her character.
It'd be like if in Hook they made him go, it's tough being the only Filipino in Neverland. Like you don't need to fucking say it. Just
and then it immediately makes me go, okay, so you see yourself as a victim, something that nobody really likes about people.
Yeah.
And that just turns you off. It turns you off.
Yeah.
Especially if you're supposed to be the hero of the show.
Right.
Exactly.
How many times have you heard your friend talk about, oh, I'm so fucking broke or whatever? And you're like, God, yeah, just shut the fuck up a little bit, right? Nobody goes like, oh man, I'm really rooting for you now, brother, because you talk about how broke you are all the time. Literally nobody does that.
Yeah, it loses that character's chance to win you over with something real. Yes. But then they're like expecting you to root for them just because of this like assumed hardship.
And then I think it builds like cultural momentum, because then if you get that dissatisfaction multiple times in a row, when you see it again, case in point, like they recasted for the new Harry Potter TV show series Snape as a black dude.
Right.
But like he could kill it.
Yeah, he could be a fucking phenomenal Snape.
But people are already mad because they just think, oh no, now you're gonna go get woke with everything.
It's echoes of things that pissed people off before just coming back up.
Yep.
But this guy, by the way, why would we deny this guy a job? He could have killed it in his audition. For all we know, he's like gonna crush it.
Well, yeah, I mean because Dr. Dolittle, for instance, is a lot of people's favorite movie. That they didn't even fucking know the original one is not black.
Yeah.
And nobody called it woke at the time.
No, they didn't say nothing because he killed it.
They didn't do enough corny shit back then to make Eddie Murphy go, geez, this is a little woke.
But Dr. Dolittle wasn't about him being black.
Yeah.
He was just a doctor.
He could talk to animals.
That's it. That's the bit.
And by the way, Nutty Professor's the same shit. Nutty Professor was a white guy too. Nobody
really?
gave a fuck.
Wasn't that also Jerry Lewis?
I think so.
they're all remakes,
and
huh?
nobody gave a fuck.
No, a lot of fucking amazing movies are remakes in a different race, and it wasn't a problem till now.
What about Daddy Daycare?
Remake.
Cheaper by the Dozen's a remake.
Gregory Peck movie.
It was To Kill a Mockingbird 2.
That's why I think it's like they're not giving like characters their fair shot to be loved.
No,
Bro,
exactly.
The Departed's a remake.
Yeah. It was Infernal Affairs.
Yeah.
And that one's actually really
That one was
good.
good.
The original's really good.
We just this is not The Last of Us, but we watched a show called The Four Seasons on Netflix.
Dude, I saw it.
And I thought that show was like they handled like mature like marriage relationships, but it was just I felt like it was pretty good writing. It felt like I was like, oh man, these are just natural stories, whether they're black, white, gay, it doesn't matter.
Didn't matter.
You're just watching them be couples and then going through their problems.
They didn't make it corny and lame.
They didn't. It was just like real problems, real shit.
They had a gay couple in it, and you're not like, this is insufferable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like they were just funny, good characters that you liked no matter what, and it was just fun.
It was a great show.
Yeah, I liked it, and that was the last show I saw where I was like, oh, this is actually good writing.
Yeah.
But then you get like you see who wrote it, and it's like Tina Fey.
Yeah, exactly. People who are good at writing.
You know what gay couple I really enjoyed? The one in Modern Family.
Yeah, they're
Oh yeah.
Exactly, and they're just good characters.
I hate Vietnam.
Stone Street.
That one.
They're great.
Yeah, I think what happens too.
By the way, The Birdcage, real quick. The Birdcage, one of the great movies. Nobody called it woke. It's an original story. It's believable.
I think it becomes woke when it's virtue signaling like it's not authentic. You could feel that they're doing it for pandering.
Yeah.
Because like in Vikings, like remember when Lagatha became lesbian all of a sudden?
Yeah.
And it was like, why? It wasn't even properly explained.
It's like random. Right?
That season felt extremely woke, right? For whatever reason.
Umbrella Academy, where they literally did a sex change on Ellen Page's character and made her. She went from being Vanya to Victor.
For no reason.
Well, because in real life, Ellen Page sex change. So they're like, I guess we're changing the story to a sex change thing. And apparently the director, she texted the director like, I wanted sex change on the show. And then apparently this leaked later that he texted a bunch of people from the staff like, fuck my life, basically. Like
I would be too, because it's like, dude, this character, now I gotta change my whole story because of you.
It's just that the bad writing is reminiscent of when you watch a movie for school and it's a lesson.
Yeah.
and it's not a movie, you're not entertained by it. They're trying to give you a lesson.
And it's too.
And I don't want to feel like someone's trying to give me a lesson. Like, I want to be able to learn lessons based on the shit that I think.
I'm not watching an after-school special where it is hand-handed, and they are telling me this is your brain on drugs, and it is corny as shit. We all made fun of it back then for the same reason, because it's lazy as shit.
But you know what it feels like? It doesn't feel like someone who's like an expert in the field. It's like a BuzzFeed journalist.
That's what it is.
That's a teenager.
Yeah.
That's fucking virtue signaling some shit and trying to preach to me.
Because the
versus
agenda,
someone that's well versed in it and they can tell a good story. And one of the things I thought like the woke shit they missed so hard is there's already great stories of these different cultures.
Yeah, there's real stories.
Why don't you create characters that already exist and tell that story?
You don't have to make James Bond gay.
Yeah.
Just tell a story about a gay spy.
If they did, that'd be kind of funny.
And they never mention that he was gay, but he was just like fucking dudes all the time. You'd be like, okay.
But they wouldn't be able to not mention it. That's the sad part. I would love if they didn't mention it.
Yeah.
But the fact that they can't resist telling you to your face, it's like, that's bad.
By the way, I'm Asian.
Yeah.
Oh, fucking really?
An Asian like you will never make it.
No, but they asked Henry Golding potentially to be James Bond, or what he thought about it, and he's like, I don't think I should play him. I think James Bond is white.
Yeah.
And he said that.
Isn't he half white?
But like he looks Asian.
Yeah, but yeah.
I mean, Superman's clearly like some white dude, but Dean Cain played him great. Like and nobody gave a fuck because Dean Cain was just playing him straight up. He wasn't like, by the way, I will have some egg rolls, thank you. Like that's what they would do now. That's how corny it is. It's just so bad.
Which alludes to the line that is like most controversial is when in The Last of Us she's like her counterpart is like pregnant through like her ex-boyfriend or whatever, and then so she's like, I'm gonna be a dad.
That's the pandering, right?
That was the worst thing I've seen in a while.
And everybody hates it. And again, I feel bad for them.
I don't. She's just doing her job as an actress.
She's doing her job.
I agree.
And she's a good actor.
I agree.
It's a really difficult thing to try and like get everybody to like love.
On top of the fact that I heard in the game, when she finds out that her girl is pregnant by her ex dude, she's like pissed.
Yeah, that's totally different.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
That's a completely different scenario.
Yeah. So especially in the post-apocalyptic setting, you know.
Why not just say I'm going to be a mom? What's up with that? Like, just say I'm going to be a mom.
Or what if she said, I'm going to be a da? Like, that would have been better.
Well, I'm gonna be a parent.
I'm gonna be a dad.
You know, nobody would have cared if she's like, oh shit, I'm going to be a parent. That's crazy. Nobody would have gave a fuck. But she's like, I'm going to be a dad. Like, what do you mean you're going to be a dad?
Yeah,
They made it so clear. They had to make it clear.
I feel like the agenda gets away with bad writing because they want so badly to insert the fucking stuff in there that I'm like,
when you're watching Jerry Maguire at the end of the movie where he says, you complete me, they didn't just invent that. They actually seeded it. They had like a person who was, I think, deaf greeting their partner, and they said like, blah blah blah, whatever, what deaf people do. They move their hands together. Not important. And then Tom Cruise is like, he's like, hey, what they just say? What was that about? And then what's her
Zellweger.
Zellweger says, oh, he said you complete me. And Tom Cruise's character is very confused by that because why would somebody complete somebody else? He's focused on his job. By the end of the movie, when he says you complete me, it was earned because we saw that earlier, and now he came back to her after completing the arc with his job, and now he wants her because he realizes his job is a vacuous fucking empty hole if he doesn't have a relationship. And that was earned. But you don't just get there by going, I'm a dad. They should have said like fucking earlier, like, I think I'm a fucking guy, bro. I think I have a fucking fake old cock running down my leg here, or anything to
or
earn
even
it.
for her to
And
just
that's
like talk
inventing
about
it.
Joel being like a father that she never had, like build a relationship and ideology and theme of fatherhood.
Her dad meant so much to her, right?
Yeah.
Or like, what if she's scared because she's like, oh my god, this baby's not gonna have a dad like I did, or anything. It's already just like actually human shit that
seed it and then pay it off. Yeah.
The ex-boyfriend is the dad and still alive. I don't know.
But that's why like that's the thing I don't like about it is that it's criticism proof because of the topic.
Right.
They need more non-white writers in there. That's fucking stupid.
They need more people to be like, no, like don't. That's fucking to be.
Or
so
it might be like just nepotism. It might be someone's nephew on the writing team and he's fucking doing it. You know, it's like there's so much politics. You don't even know where it's coming from.
But it also feels like what they did with Game of Thrones in the last season. They just were like, all right, let's just fucking.
But they fucking rushed their homework because they have another better gig.
Yeah, and that's what it feels like. It's just lazy. It just didn't feel like it was like you said, earned. I think that's the best way to put it.
Yeah, earned is the most important thing.
Well, it doesn't exist anymore except for in Christopher Nolan movies and a few others.
They had a low budget for writers.
But mainly when he
that's
works
why-
with Jonathan.
But then that's the difference between like selling it and not selling it.
Yeah.
Like if it's earned, then people will swallow it and take it at face value. But otherwise, if you detect that a little bit of like inauthenticity, then it's gonna suck to you.
By the way, Tenet, nobody cared that John David Washington was black. They cared that the movie sucked.
Does that movie suck? I was gonna ask if I should watch it.
You should watch it
Because it wasn't working with Jonathan. That was his joke. I just was carrying on. with that.
But I agree still
Yeah,
in
no,
that way.
yeah,
but
yeah.
it's one of those things where when you watch it the first time, it sucks. Especially when it was in theaters and the audio's bad.
Garbled.
Audio is crazy. But they fixed the audio. And when you watch it a second time and you're actually paying
You can
attention
hear
to
it.
things,
Once you can hear it,
you're like, oh, this is actually a different kind of brilliant. It was too meta for me.
What if I watch a breakdown of the whole movie and then watch the movie?
That might help. That might help. But it might spoil everything.
You have to watch Cloud Atlas like 9 times to get it.
I'm not gonna watch
the
Cloud
night
Atlas.
time.
But before we're done,
I'm not gonna watch Cloud Atlas.
I still want to give props to Bella Ramsey.
Same.
Because obviously
It's
she
not on her.
subscribes. It's not on her. And
Checking the page
and
again.
Lady
Okay.
Mormont, the way that was done.
She crushed it.
So she's a great actress, just not in this.
That was earned though, because one,
fucked her.
as a kid, she just had really great script writing and dialogue.
yeah.
And then when she actually goes in the fight,
They burned
no, when they go in the fight, it's realistic because the giant.
She gets
troll
fucked
thing-
up.
Or the giant picks her up and crushes her. That makes sense. And she's able to just stab him in the eye, and it's like, that was a payoff.
Oh, I thought they burned her.
No, dude, this giant picks her up.
But then
Right.
he got
Crushed
Oh, that
her.
was her. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then she's like, ah! And she takes out a knife and stabs him in the eye, and then he dies.
Sick,
And it's
sick,
like, dude, you killed a giant.
That's sick. That's sick. 1 for 1.
See, that's believable. She's a little girl. She beat a giant. That makes sense.
I saw a clip of it that they were taking for The Last of Us,